Okay, imagine for a second that you're holding the theory of everything. You know, that scientific holy grail that everyone's been chasing for, what, a century now?
Oh, at least. It's the white whale of physics.
The one equation that's supposed to unite the tiny, weird world of quantum physics.
Atoms, quarks, all that stuff.
With the massive scale of the cosmos, black holes, galaxies, gravity.
And they just do not get along. We have these two completely separate rule books, relativity for the big, quantum for the small. And they're like oil and water.
Exactly. And, you know, usually when you hear about solutions, it's string theory or 11 dimensions or math. So complex, it just looks like alien hieroglyphs.
Really out of reach for most of us.
But I want you to imagine something else today. What if the answer wasn't some impossibly complex new equation? What if the mechanism of creation was actually a shape and a number?
It sounds like science fiction, right? Like you found a secret code to the universe.
It really does.
But that is exactly what we're going to unpack in today's deep dive. We're looking at a framework called Geometric Harmonic Physics.
Specifically, we're diving into a document titled, and get this, Mechanism for the Creation of the Material World through Primordial Fractalization.
Which is, I admit, a mouthful.
A total mouthful. It sounds like something you'd find in a dusty university basement. But our mission today is to, well, break that down into something we can all chew on. We're going to try and connect the golden ratio, the number 432 subatomic particles,
and the Great Pyramid of Giza.
The Great Pyramid, into one single elegant system.
And what's so fascinating here, the core argument of the source material, it's not about complexity. It's the total opposite. It says creation operates through, well, radical simplicity, elegance, the path of least resistance.
The universe is lazy. Or efficient, I guess.
Exactly. It didn't brute force its way into existence. It just flowed using the easiest geometry it could.
Okay, let's unpack that. I love the idea of an efficient universe. So where does this story even begin?
It starts the absolute beginning, before matter, before the Big Bang. The source calls it source energy, and it's expressed as unity.
So just the number one.
The number one, the big one, the singularity, the whole shebang before it gets sliced up.
Got it.
Now, for creation to happen, that one has to divide. It needs to create difference. If it stays as one, well, nothing exists. And according to this framework, it divides by the golden ratio, by phi.
Ah, the golden ratio. It feels like we see that number everywhere.
We do. Sunflowers, galaxies, seashells, it's nature's favorite number, about 1.618. It's the most efficient way to grow or divide something.
Okay.
So you take that source energy of 1, you divide it by phi, and you get a volume of energy that's 1 over phi, roughly 0.618. And that's what the text calls the primordial fractalization.
Right, so we have this raw energy value, 0.618. But energy needs a container, doesn't it? It can't just float in a void. It needs a shape.
And this is where that path of least resistance idea comes back. If you were the universe and you wanted to build a 3D structure with the absolute minimum effort, what shape would you pick?
I mean, my first guess would be a sphere. Bubbles or spheres? Seems easy.
A sphere is efficient for surface area, yes. But if you're building with straight lines and flat faces, a sphere doesn't work. The simplest possible 3D shape with flat sides is the tetrahedron.
The pyramid with a triangle base.
Yeah.
Like a four-sided die you'd use in D&D.
Exactly that. It's the simplest 3D structure in the universe. Only 4 vertices, 4 faces. You can't enclose a volume with any less. So the source argues this energy just naturally flows into a tetrahedron. It's the easiest thing to do.
Okay, I'm with you. We have our energy, 0.618, and our shape, the tetrahedron. Now, this is where it gets really specific and a little weird.
It does. The model describes this tetrahedron with a sphere perfectly inscribed inside it, touching all 4 faces.
Okay, a ball inside the pyramid.
And when you analyze how that 0.618 energy distributes itself, something incredible resonates. The volume of energy inside that sphere corresponds to harmonic 432 squared.
And what about the space left over in the corners of the pyramid?
That remaining volume resonates as harmonic 432. And the text is really clear on the accuracy here. We're talking 99.9% and 99.8% accuracy. These are not close enough numbers.
So this number, 432, just pops out of the geometry. I know 432 hertz is a big deal in music and sound healing circles.
The natural frequency of the universe, some call it.
Right. But why is a geometric shape spitting out a music number?
This is one of the most compelling points. The tetrahedron isn't just a container, it's a resonance chamber.
A resonance chamber.
Think about the geometry itself. If you add up all the internal angles of a tetrahedron, what do you get?
Oh, man. High school geometry was a long time ago. A triangle is 180.
A tetrahedron has 4 triangular faces, so 4 times 180 is 720 degrees.
720, okay.
Now let's convert that into minutes of arc. Like latitude and longitude. There are 60 minutes in 1 degree.
So 720 times 60 is?
43,200. Or, if we're talking harmonics, where we look at the root number, 432.
No way. The structure itself is tuned to that frequency.
That's a great way to put it. It's like the shape is a radio that can only pick up station 432. It's built that way. And the source argues this is why energies inside it just naturally scale up by factors of 432. The shape acts like a filter.
Okay, this is wild. But we're still kind of in abstract math land. I promised we'd connect this to something real. And I think this is the part where my jaw actually hit the floor reading this stuff.
The Great Pyramid.
The Great Pyramid.
Yeah, this is where we see if this universal mechanism actually landed on Earth. The document points out a geographic anomaly that is, well, it's very hard to dismiss.
The pyramid is always the star of these mysteries.
It is, but look at its location. If you measure the distance from the prime meridian, the 0 line of longitude, to the Great Pyramid of Giza, right at the equator.
Hang on, measure in what? Kilometers? Miles. The unit matters, right?
That's a crucial point. We're measuring in nautical miles, and the text specifically calls nautical miles a geometric harmonic unit.
Why?
Because a nautical mile isn't arbitrary like a foot. It's based on the geometry of the Earth. 1 nautical mile is 1 minute of arc of our planet's latitude. It's an Earth-based unit.
Okay, so a unit derived from the planet itself. So the distance
is 1,868 nautical miles.
What's special about 1,868?
It matches harmonic 432 squared with 99.9% accuracy.
You're kidding.
The math is right there. 432 squared is about 186,624. If you look at the harmonics, shifting the decimal, it's a match.
So the implication is the Giza complex isn't just sitting there randomly.
The implication is that its location physically encodes the exact same value found inside the sphere of that primordial tetrahedron.
That is mind-blowing. It's like whoever built it understood this physics. They weren't just piling rocks. They were marking a geometric node on the planet that matches the geometry of creation itself.
A stone textbook. That's what it suggests. But to really understand creation, we have to go smaller, much, much smaller than a pyramid.
Right. We have to bridge the gap between these big shapes and the actual atoms we're made of. We have a pyramid and some math. We need to get to stuff.
Exactly. So let's talk about the size of that first primordial tetrahedron.
How big is it?
This is the bridge. The text says its side length is exactly 2 Planck length.
Remind us how tiny a Planck length is. I know it's small, but...
It's the smallest possible measurement that has any physical meaning. It's the pixel size of the universe. If you blew up a grain of sand to the size of the known universe, a Planck length would still be microscopic.
So this shape is the tiniest thing imaginable. But why 2 Planck lengths? Why not just 1?
This is a key detail for anyone into physics. If you take the smallest possible unit of mass, the Planck mass, and collapse it into a black hole, the radius of that black hole, its event horizon, would be exactly 2 Planck lengths.
So this tetrahedron sits right on the edge, the event horizon of reality.
Precisely. It represents the ultimate frontier between quantum physics and general relativity. It's where space-time literally begins.
So we have this tiny seed of reality.
Yeah.
A tetrahedron, 2 Planck lengths wide, vibrating with 432 energy. What's next?
It grows. It scales up. Remember, the tetrahedron is a resonance chamber. It amplifies the energy by that factor of 432. So we get the first scale up. The energy expands and the geometry expands with it.
And the size changes.
Right. And the side length of this new scaled up tetrahedron matches a very specific ancient measurement.
Let me guess. The Royal Egyptian Cubit.
The Royal Egyptian Cubit, the one used to build the pyramids.
I always thought that was just the length of some pharaoh's forearm, elbow to middle finger.
That's the conventional story. But this source makes a compelling argument that the cubit is actually based on quantum physics. The math defines it as 2 Planck lengths multiplied by the golden ratio.
So the cubit wasn't arbitrary. It was a calculated value from the fundamental constants of the universe.
Exactly. It implies the pyramid builders knew the size of the Planck length.
Which is impossible, according to our history books. But let's keep going. We have the cubit. We still need to get to actual matter. How do we get from a qubit to a proton?
We keep scaling. This is the cascade the document talks about. At the qubit level, the energy inside our sphere now corresponds to harmonic 432 cubed.
Okay, that resonance is getting a lot stronger.
It is. Now, here's a very specific claim. If you take that energy value and you plug it into the Schwarzschild-Metric-Einstein's equation for black holes,
Okay.
it describes a mini black hole with a diameter of 1/phi.
We're back at the beginning, that 1 phi number.
It circles right back. The geometry is self-referential. It's a fractal. But we need one more scale up. We multiply by harmonic 432 one more time.
So now we're at harmonic 432 to the power of 4.
And this is the big reveal. When you calculate that value, it matches the average mass energy of the subatomic constituents of our world, the proton and the neutron.
Hold on. Wait, let me get this straight. You're saying if I take the math of a simple tetrahedron, combine it with the golden ratio, and scale it up by 432 a few times, I mathematically derive a proton.
With 99.6% accuracy, according to the source.
So what does this all mean? It implies that matter, the stuff my microphone is made of, the stuff I'm made of, isn't just random particles, it's geometry.
It implies matter is frozen music, in a sense, a standing wave of geometry. We think of a proton as a little hard ball, but this suggests it's the result of this fractal process scaling up from the quantum foam until it finds a stable harmonic.
A cascading waterfall of energy.
A beautiful cascade, as the text calls it. And it doesn't stop there. The notes mention one last scale. If you take that subatomic energy and scale it up by one more golden ratio, you get the best estimate for the volume of the entire universe in cubic nautical miles.
So it goes from the Planck length, the smallest thing, to the universe, the biggest thing, all using the same simple rule.
Source, which is 1, divides by phi, enters the tetrahedron, resonates at 432, becomes the Planck length, scales to the qubit, scales to the proton, scales to the universe. One unbroken chain.
You know, physics usually feels so cold, so random, but this feels meaningful. The document mentions spiritual implications.
Of course, and I think that's unavoidable when you see a system this elegant. It frames the physics as a reflection of a metaphysical process, the one dividing itself into the many.
The singularity becoming the material world.
Exactly, but it's not just a poetic metaphor. The source emphasizes these aren't vague numbers. We're seeing statistical accuracies of 99.8%, 99.9%. It suggests the spiritual concept has a rigid mathematical backbone.
It bridges the gap between science and spirituality. It says they're describing the same thing.
And it brings us back to that initial idea, simplicity. The standard model of particles in physics today, it's messy. It has all these arbitrary constants you just have to accept.
Like a recipe with too many ingredients.
Exactly. This framework asks, what if it's not messy? What if it's just one simple shape resonating over and over? What if the universe is just doing one thing, infinitely repeated?
The path of least resistance.
And that efficiency looks like the number 432 and the golden ratio.
So if you look at the world this way, the Great Pyramid isn't just a tomb, it's a diagram. A proton isn't just a particle, it's a geometric resonance.
And 432 isn't just a number, it's the hum of reality. And we, by extension, are part of that resonance. We aren't separate from the geometry, we are the geometry.
That is a lot to take in. It makes you look at a simple triangle a little differently.
It definitely challenges us to look for the patterns. We tend to see all the chaos, all the noise. But this perspective suggests that underneath all that, there's a very quiet, very perfect harmonic playing.
A 432 hertz hum at the center of everything.
Precisely.
Well, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, from the birth of creation to the math of black holes. It's a fascinating way to view reality.
And that's the value of these deep dives, isn't it? Even if you're skeptical of the specifics, and you should be, the logic of simplicity is compelling. Why wouldn't the universe be built on the simplest possible foundation?
Exactly. Why overcomplicate it?
Before we wrap up, I just want to leave our listeners with one thought. We've talked about how this structure builds atoms and the universe. We've seen it encoded in the Great Pyramid.
The structures we build mimicking the structures that built us.
Right. But here's the question. If the fundamental structure of reality, from our atoms to the pyramids, is built on the simple resonance of 432 and the golden ratio, does that mean simplicity isn't just an aesthetic choice?
What do you mean by that?
Does it mean that beauty or elegance is actually a fundamental law of physics we haven't appreciated yet? Is the universe beautiful because it has to be? Is chaos or ugliness physically impossible at the most fundamental level?
That is something I'm going to be thinking about for a long time. Is beauty a law of physics? I love that.
It's worth pondering.
Thank you all for joining us on this journey through the geometry of creation. We hope your brains are buzzing or resonating just as much as ours are.
Thanks for listening. Keep asking questions.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye, everyone.